I know. I'm way late to the party, but here's my list of the only 5 whiskeys you need. Plus, I've added a special 6th bonus category that you're gonna want to stick around to the end to see. So let's get to it. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Bourbon Hutch. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey through the world of whiskey. So, this trend of talking about the only 5 whiskeys you need flew through all of YouTube and the WhiskeyTube community last year. Obviously, I hadn't started my channel then yet, so give me a little bit of a break for jumping on the train way late. Super interesting, article on Reddit, I think, talked about how there's only really 5 whiskeys you need open at any time and gave 5 specific categories. So I'm going to break down my picks for each of those categories and then talk about one more category I think should be on the list. So first is the cheap mixer category. And for that, I have picked none other than Old Grandad 114. So cheap mixer to me, that really just means, you're putting it in cocktails, you're putting it in mixed drinks. You're not that worried about using a lot of it for that purpose. I chose Old Grandad 114 because, first of all, it's 114 proof. So it's going to stand up to pretty much any cocktail you put it in. Second of all, it's got a really nice spice and baking spice note to it that I think just adds a lot of depth and texture and flavor to a lot of cocktails. I think a lot of cocktails you have these sweet and sour notes, and this adds that spicy kick that I'm really looking to hold up against a cocktail. And then last but not least, it is pretty cheap. I mean, you can see this anywhere in the $24 to $30 range. I know there are other options that are even cheaper. Some people have, the Evan Williams Bottled in Bond, which is a great bottle. But for me, this 114 OGD is just, it fires on all cylinders. It's great, neat, but man, it's got such a great kick to it in cocktails. And as you can see, I've used it for that purpose quite a bit myself. So second category is Daily Drinker. So this is something you're going to sip on pretty much any day of the week, and something you're going to thoroughly enjoy no matter what the time or season or place is, really. For me, I really wanted something that had a little bit of complexity, a little bit of proof, so that you never really get bored with it, and it just had to be damn good whiskey. So I went with Cooper's Craft 100. This is the barrel reserve version. What an amazing budget whiskey. I mean, at 30 bucks, this is so good. Sweet, rich, older oaky notes, maybe a touch of tobacco in there. So it's got that complexity and some cherry and vanilla, and you could pick apart the layers for a while. And then it's also 100 proof, so you're getting something not at 86 or even 90, but a little bit higher kick. So every day you're getting that little bit of Kentucky hug, warmth, and just so good. Third category is Friday night pour. So this is something, imagine it's been a really long week at work. You're coming home on Friday night and you don't want just your standard daily drinker. You want something elevated. You want something really fantastic just to sort of treat yourself, celebrate another week of work done, kick up your feet, and just relax with a great pour. So for that category, I went with Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Proof. So this is 130.4 proof version of Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Proof. Incredible brown sugar, banana, vanilla notes. Really powerful whiskey. I mean, it jumps out of the glass on the nose. You can smell it from a mile away. And obviously it's got this full-bodied, full-flavored, great texture because it's a single barrel and it's barrel proof. After a long week, I can't imagine much better pour that's really gonna hit you and let you relax and just let you sit with something sweet and good. It is really good, guys. Highly recommend you look for this if you have not been picking up bottles of Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Proof. So, fourth category, this is where we started to get into some of the more elite categories, I guess. And this category is Impress Your Guests. And for this category, I actually kind of took a little different spin on it than many other people do. I see this not just as an opportunity to show off a great bottle, but to show off a whiskey that itself is really impressive for what it is. And for that, there's no better choice than Chattanooga Whiskey 111 Cask Strength. That's right, I've done a review on this, basically called it the most surprising whiskey I've ever tasted, and that's because it is. This stuff is only 2 years old, and man, does it taste not like it's 2 years old. You could take this, and this is what I imagine doing with this sort of category. You take this and you pour it into a glass without telling people what it is. You put it in front of them. This could be, your typical urban drinker who knows a lot about the industry, and it could be somebody who's just getting into it that you're trying to impress. You put this in front of them blind, you have them taste it, and you say, how old do you think that stuff is? And how much would you pay for it? And you're going to hear a lot of answers like, I don't know, 5, 6 years old, 7, 8 maybe. How much would I pay? It's really good. It's probably like a $70 to $80 bottle. And then you tell them, yeah, that's 2-year-old whiskey from a craft distillery in Tennessee, and it's $40 to $45. I don't know how else, how better you can impress your guests than with a really great whiskey that they may have been passing up on shelves, that they probably sort of heard about, but maybe haven't tried for themselves. And it's 111 cask strength. I mean, it's full bodied, full flavored. It's great stuff. So that's my pick for impress your guests. All right, so last category, not in my list, but from the Reddit post, was your special occasion bottle. This is something that, you save for the day you get promoted, the day you get great news, the day you get engaged, stuff like that. These moments in life that you want to celebrate with a great, great whiskey. Now, guys, that here at the Bourbon Hutch, I've only been hunting whiskey for about a year, so I do not have a bunch of rare and super hard to find bottles. But I have a couple that I'm really proud of and that I think are really fantastic. And so for this category, I went with Maker's Mark FAE 02. So Maker's Mark, they've got their wood finishing limited release series that's coming out. This is the second offering from 2021. It's full and rich cask strength stuff from Maker's Mark. Such great wood and barrel spices on it. It's limited, so in a couple of years, this is going to be, very hard to find, if not impossible to find, which is great to have one for yourself. I'm sipping this one slowly and enjoying it. Now, I don't necessarily use it for special occasions, but if there was a whiskey I had right now that I wanted to save for some of those special moments, it would definitely be Maker's Mark FAE 02. Okay, so now it's time for the 6th bonus category that I came up with, because I think this is a great list. You don't actually only need 5 bottles of whiskey open at any time. Spoiler alert, like you can have more than that open. But if I was going to add a 6th category, it would be a little bit different than all of these categories. It's not so much a you-centric thing, you trying to impress other people, you trying to, relax after a long week. It's sort of other-centric. It's about the bourbon community, and that's what I would call the converter bottle. This is a bottle that you purposefully buy so that when other people come to your place to hang out, you can pour them a glass of it and know that it might have a chance at converting them to becoming whiskey and bourbon drinkers. That's just a great feeling knowing that you've brought somebody else into this community and can now share it with them. And 2, it's kind of fun to say that you were the one who started that journey for them. And for that bottle, I went with Woodford Reserve Double Oak. So I've done a review on Woodford Reserve Double Oak before. Basically, I think it's one of the ultimate crowd pleaser whiskeys for sure. It's so sweet with chocolates and vanillas and caramel, but also like marshmallow sweetness and graham cracker sweetness, almost like it's s'mores in a glass. And for my money, it's one of the best converter whiskeys. Almost anybody who's not into whiskey thinks it's going to be too alcohol-y, too burny, has had bad experiences with it in the past. This is the kind of whiskey that can gently invite them back into this world by kind of appealing to their sweet tooth. And, that might be a little bit unfair because not all bourbons are like that, but once they drink this, you can move them on to something like a 1910, which is also very sweet but has a little more char, and then just on and on down the line, you can shepherd them back or shepherd them into the world of bourbon. So those are my 6 bottles that I've chosen for this list. Yes, one extra bonus one. Would love to hear in the comments what you think, fits each of these categories for you, but also really would love to hear about a converter bottle for you. Is there one that you've seen a lot of success with using to get people into whiskey and draw newbies in? Is there one that you've got on your shelf right now that you're specifically waiting to give somebody or have them taste just to prove to them what bourbon can really offer? Would love to hear about that bottle for you. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you think my list is great, let me know. If you think it's crap, let me know in the comments below. Please like the video if you did like the video, and please subscribe to the channel. It really helps trying to grow the channel and keep creating good content for you guys. Always happy to hear your suggestions for what video to make next too. Until I see you guys again for another video, all I can say is keep drinking good whiskey and cheers.